All right, welcome into the first episode of Fall 2024 Sports Pack. We've had some minor technical difficulties. Wasn't able to show y'all that flashy new intro I've been working on, but it's all right. I'll just show y'all next week. As you can tell already, for those of you that are returning viewers of Sports Pack, returning viewers and listeners, things are a little different this year. First of all, I'm Richard Reed, your host of Sports Pack this year. I hope you continue to stick with us throughout the rest of the semester. And I'm joined by one familiar face, Carlie Pear.
Whoop whoop, I'm your new executive producer of Sports Pack. Super excited to be here.
Also joined by Jackson Schrader and John Howley. You might recognize them from the podcast Triple Threat on wolfsportsnetwork.com.
Absolutely great to be on here.
How y'all feeling today? What's going on?
Let's go, dude. I'm pumped, man.
I'm feeling excited today, man. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah,
We're on Sports Pack.
Excited to start it. Let's get it going with some UWG. Still having some technical difficulties. Can't even play the stager, but it's all good because this weekend is our first. This weekend's a huge weekend here at West Georgia because it is our first ever West Georgia Division I football game this weekend as we're kicking off the season against the Samford Bulldogs from a little down the street over there in Alabama. It is a huge weekend this week. I hear we're gonna have a huge turnout at the football game. Get to check out the brand new team under the newest head coach, Coach Joel Taylor, who is now running our football team here. He's our new head coach. Have a massive tailgate show coming from the one and only Wolf Sports Network. And I'm even hearing it's going to be a little bit of a fireworks show. What are y'all excited about this weekend?
Dude, I mean, this could be the biggest week for West Georgia in their team history. I mean, the implications of this game, this is how we're going to start our D1 era. So I'm pumped, man. We get fireworks at the end. Like, this could be sweet, sweet victory if the Wolves can pull off the upset against Samford.
And a lot of people are really excited about this season, but there are a lot of people that are kind of doubting this team. They're like, yeah, the team was already decent last year. Now you're moving up to Division I. This team's probably going to get destroyed. But, you know, early on, I was kind of feeling the same way. But as time has gone on, I've had time to sit back and listen to Coach Joel Taylor and look at what he's been able to do with this team and this coaching staff. I, for one, am pretty excited. I'm sitting here looking at this coaching staff. I'm looking at young offensive coordinator Dane Stevens, who we brought in from Ole Miss. Yes, the Ole Mississippi under that Lane Kiffin coaching tree. Also went out and grabbed a bunch of transfers, hit the transfer portal extremely hard. And in West Georgia's first year in the FCS, they have the 10th ranked transfer portal class, in the entire FCS. That's impressive. If you want to come in and shake some things up, immediately make a big-time impact, that's how you do it. Bring the guys that are already in the current roster, but go in and leverage the portal, leverage in recruiting, go hard out there, go hard in the paint out there and bring in some dogs. And that is exactly what Coach Joel Taylor has done. He went out and got a transfer wide receiver from the University of Michigan, the defending national champions. Exactly. Then go out and get your starting quarterback, Davin Widener, another guy from Ole Miss. They're checking off every single box they need to be competitive this year.
I mean, first thing I'd see is history with this because this is huge for our university. It's our first Division I home game, but you're really trusting Davin at quarterback. He was a guy behind Jackson Dark, you know, someone who was really, really well respected in the SEC, and you bring the guy over from Ole Miss. It's honestly just a great thing to do, and it's really looking great for the team in a whole. Plus, one thing I want to say, our defense, it ain't too shabby. During spring, I know it was a while ago, but shoot, the defense did not look too shabby. There are some hard-playing dogs out there, and I know that Coach Taylor with his defensive mindset is going to get it done out there on Saturday.
Yeah. And Coach Taylor's a defensive coach. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go
Carlie.
ahead.
We're good. Go ahead.
So Richard and I actually had the opportunity to go to the Joel Taylor show on Monday, and we actually got to ask him a few questions. And he said that, I mean, a really big plus is the fact that during his time at Mercer, he did face Samford. He knows this team. He knows Coach Hatcher. He knows what is coming for him. And, we asked him, we said, what is like this biggest thing about Samford that you need your West Georgia Wolves to tackle? And he said the tempo of Samford is so fast. They play very fast, very rapid, and they got to keep up with it and even go past that. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to turn out. And I have the absolute honor to sideline report on ESPN Plus for this.
Shout out, Carlie.
So, yes, I'm super excited. Be sure you tune in to ESPN Plus at 6 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to tune in to our tailgate show from 3:30 to 5:30, I think.
Ma'am.
Yes, so be sure you tune in. Here's some of our Sports Network peeps. It's going to be a good day.
Oh, yeah, you heard that right. We have an ESPN sideline reporter on our show.
Yes,
who else got that?
I don't know
nobody else. But look, football isn't the only sport moving D1. I heard we had a UFC match at the soccer game. What's going on with that, Carlie?
I mean, I'm going to have to let John take you up on that one. I unfortunately was not there, but John
So,
saw the
John,
whole
you,
thing.
you were ringside.
Well, so I was in with UWG Production shadowing for our class, and we're sitting there, kind of talking. This game, a lot of tension throughout the game, great game played, very surprising goals, the bicycle kick in the beginning, but it ended up being, at one point, the goalie from Charleston Southern threw a punch at one of our UWG players, and then we responded with the left hook, and both of them actually got ejected, red cards, and now suspended for 2 games. But I kind of say we got the title fight right there for UWG.
Yes, but the soccer team is playing actually right now. They just started a game versus High Point up there away, and so that'll be super cool to see how soccer really defeats that. We also have volleyball. They had an exhibition against Shorter last week. I was there for the first 4 sets. They had to go into 5 sets, which was not ideal that this volleyball team had to go that far against a team like Shorter, but am super looking forward to what this team has going into this weekend.
I'm excited for it, too. It sounds like we're off to a fantastic start here with these
100%,
UWG
man.
sports. But you know what else is fantastic?
What?
Fantastic news from the Wolves Deli Station is returning to West Commons. Build your own sandwich to your liking as you choose from several bread, meat, and cheese options. More information is located on the Dine West Instagram at Dine_West. But I've said fantastic about 5 times already, but do you know what else is fantastic this past summer?
What's up?
The Olympics.
Dude.
Now look.
So
I know we're a
much.
little late with it. This is the end of September. It's Labor Day weekend. It's the end of August. Excuse me. It's Labor Day weekend this weekend. But we've got to talk about the Olympics. So
Right.
much happened, and I want to hear from all of you. I want to hear everyone's favorite moment from the Olympics. Schrader, let's start off with you.
All right, so if you know anything about me, I'm a former average high school runner. I take pride in that. But Cole
Former
Hawker,
average high school
dude, former average high school runner. Nobody more average than me. But Cole Hawker had a historic 1,500-meter upset. It was amazing. He ran, honestly, like in 5th place for just about the entire race until that last 200 meters. He kicked it into just kicked it into gear. It took over Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr, brought the gold to the U.S., brought the U.S. a gold in an event in which up until 2012, I believe, we hadn't won the gold in the 1,500 meter since like 1908. So this was a big
Since
big deal
1908?
that 1908. So
Holy.
like giving us a second gold medal in this event out of nowhere like that was a huge upset, and it was great to see.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was watching that live, and they hyped up that whole
Oh, yeah.
rivalry. What are the 2 guys' names again? The arch rivals?
Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr.
Exactly. So I watched that whole 20-minute preview leading up to the race, and I'm thinking it's just them 2. So I'm watching. I'm sitting back. I'm watching. I'm like, wait a minute. Who are those 2 dudes inching up?
Yeah.
And it was Cole Hawker, and the other American went
Yeah.
out and stole it. It was amazing.
It was
awesome.
USA engine up. That's what it was.
Oh yeah,
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, USA all the way.
Speaking of USA, the USA took away the first place for medaling at the Olympics. They had a total of 126 medals, probably 125 now, but I'll get to that in just a second. They tied with China with 40 gold medals, 44 silver, and 42 bronze. So probably 41 bronze. So if you guys were into the gymnastics world at all during the Olympics, during the women's floor routine final, there was Jordan Childs competing last for 3rd. She was fighting for that 3rd position. I think Simone Biles got silver, if I'm correct, and then a Brazilian got gold. But there was this debate over bronze because initially the Romanian girl won. She won bronze, but then Jordan Childs and her team put in an appeal and said, like, you did like a C start instead of a D start, which is like a higher level, which should have given
I
her
was just
a
about to
higher
say,
level
what
of
is a C
points.
start?
Yeah, what's the
So,
difference
like,
there?
There's like different skills, and different skills mean different difficulty, and higher
Right.
difficulty executed right means higher scoring.
Oh, okay.
So the judges didn't do the correct start for her. So they had her difficulty lower than it should have been, which resulted in her score being lower than it should have been. So they ended up changing her score, which put Jordan Childs above the Romanian to get bronze. So you can imagine this Romanian thought that she won bronze at the Olympics, and then 5 minutes later it's gone. Like, she doesn't have it anymore. Jordan Childs has it. It's this big thing. Well, later on down the road, there's a lot of debate, and the Romanian team put in another appeal saying, like, you missed the appeal deadline. There's a 60-second deadline to put in an appeal, and apparently it was like 4 seconds over.
Oh.
Well, America came back with it and was like, actually, it was like 44 seconds in, so we were under the appeal. So it's just this whole back and forth controversy. Simone Biles has spoken out online, as well as the rest of the USA women's gymnastics team, about their support for Jordan and everything like that. But people are saying that Jordan has to give back her medal. But other people are like, well, it's really just the judges' fault because they should have gotten it right in the beginning. Like, come on, it's the Olympics.
Exactly.
Like, what are you
This is the
everything down.
biggest
This
stage.
is the biggest thing, and I hope, personally, my own personal opinion, those judges should not have a spot anywhere ever again, because that should not
Agreed.
have happened at the
100%.
highest level.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a few years back. I don't know, maybe saying a few years back might be an understatement now, when the Miss Universe thing was announced wrong.
Yes.
Oh, dude, that was
Oh, my
crazy.
gosh,
It reminds me of the
yes.
same things. I remember I was watching that live, just as I was watching the gymnastics live, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Like,
I
we're
just
all
feel bad
human.
for all parties involved.
Right, we're all human, but I mean, I wish all three of the girls that were in that lineup for bronze could get a medal, but that's just not how it works.
Yep.
And it really sucks that it's still going on this way, but that was probably one of the biggest things that happened at the Olympics, was that whole back and forth situation. But John and Richard, I know there was another deep run that you guys wanted to mention.
Ooh, one deep run of the Dream Team, baby.
Did you just call them the Dream Team?
Redream.
Redream?
Redemption and Dream.
Okay, just throw them together, the Dream Team. I like it. All right, let's roll with it. What you got,
Let's
John?
go.
I mean, it's great for us to be back on top. You saw the team that we assembled in the summertime, and I couldn't catch too much, but I watched all the stats and everything, and really, Captain America coming in to save the citizens of the United States to put us on top. Honestly, it was great to see us back on top, and really the final game, I think it's something with Curry, right? He went
dude.
Yeah, I was gonna
Look.
say, I'll let you get started on that right there.
John, I'll
Richard.
take it from here. Because you said you were watching stats, and I'm not knocking you for it. But I was watching that game live. I remember my mom and my sister somehow got me to go shopping with them that day on the gold medal game day. I can't believe I did it, but I went. While they're sitting here going in and out every single store, I sat down at a table in the middle of the mall. Can't remember what mall we were in, probably somewhere on the north side. They just run around everywhere. But anyway, there's a weird tangent. I'm sitting in the middle of the mall, feet up, watching a game like this, and I watch Steph Curry come down the court. Bang! 1-3. Okay. All right. France goes down, gets an easy bucket. Curry back up. Bang! Another 3. All right. French team struggles to score, but they answer. Bang! Another 3. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my
He going
gosh. And I'm
crazy.
sitting here looking at the French team. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Then Steph Curry comes down the court again. Pass it away. Pass it back to him. Got the ball at the top of the key. Kind of sidesteps. Double team. I'm sitting here in the middle of the mall screaming, this is a terrible shot. This is a terrible shot. Bang! And I'm like, oh my gosh. Stephen Curry is undeniable. 4 straight threes to absolutely crush the hopes and dreams of Victor Wembanyama and the rest of the French team. There were a lot of great moments in the Olympics. The women's rugby miracle.
Dude.
Right, that
The
was incredible.
gymnastics, the Simone Biles feat was crazy.
Yes.
There were a lot of crazy things in the Olympics. But watching Steph Curry hit those 4 straight threes, that hit a string. That brought all the nationalism right back out of me, and I fell in love with the United States of America all over again. But I can only think about one thing. After watching that, I watched the celebration. I watched Wemby cry after getting second place. I watched it all. And I'm proud of Wemby. I know he's going to set the league on fire over these next few
Dude.
years. But when looking at Stephen Curry, now this isn't going to be a whole discussion. We can revisit this later, but it's just food for thought for y'all and the rest of the audience. We're going to talk about this more during the NBA season. 4-time NBA champion, check. Now Olympic gold medalist, check. 2-3-time MVP? Check. He has checked off almost everything off the list, and everybody looks at him as by far the greatest shooter of all time. But when are we going to bring Stephen Curry into those conversations as one of the greatest basketball players of all time? Now, a common debate we have here on SportsMac all the time is MJ versus LeBron. And I understand that is one of the greatest debates we'll ever have. There will never be a clear winner of that debate. But are we getting to a point where we're going to have to include Steph Curry into that conversation? I think we're getting darn close. My dad agrees with me. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors agree with me because they just signed Steph Curry to a 1-year extension Worth how much you think? How much would you think a 1-year extension for Steph Curry will be worth?
Gosh, I would hope it'd be like, $10 million for his value.
How about $62 million?
Yo, what?
A 1-year extension worth $62 million for Steph Curry. Now, that isn't just money you give to one of the greatest shooters of all time. That's money you give to one of the greatest NBA players of all time. So we're not about to get into this discussion now, but we'll revisit it in the future because this is a conversation that needs to be had. How close is Stephen Curry to being in that GOAT conversation?
He's definitely close now. I'll say
Now,
that.
stay tuned. Because when we return, we're getting right into a lot of big-time football talk. We're talking NFL first, but we got college football playoff picks coming, and our picks for week 1 of college football coming up soon. Stay tuned.
This is John Howie, your host of Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. I'm glad the Falcons fired Arthur Smith. I am also joined by Jackson Schrader.
We gotta first say the vibes in South Beach right now are immaculate.
And along with Jason Barker.
DJ Moore is about to make every fantasy manager who needs 30 points dreams come true tonight.
And together, we are Triple Threat. So make sure to tune in on Mondays to get your week started off right.
In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty. All right, welcome back. Now look, I know we were talking about the Olympics earlier, talking about some West Georgia football, but let's talk about this real deal football because the NFL season is getting closer and closer. We had an extremely exciting offseason, a lot of holdouts, a lot of big money getting dished out. Kirk Cousins got paid, a lot of big-time wide receivers got paid. A few big-time wide receivers are still sitting back waiting to get paid. But week one's coming up, and with week one coming, we have a lot of big-time questions. Like one of the biggest questions in my eyes is who's going to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs? Because now they beat the Eagles and won Super Bowl. And what was a classic, the game was in the Eagles' hands. Yeah. They should have won it. I hated one of the calls towards the end of the game. But that's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda at this point. The past is in the past. The Chiefs won that one, giving Pat Mahomes his second Super Bowl. Then boom, last year they beat the 49ers, giving him his third Super Bowl. The Chiefs have won 2 straight. Jackson Schrader, matter of fact, Carlie, I'm going to kick it off to you first.
Well, I'm ready to hear
Who
this.
is the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs and the team that's going to cause them the most trouble in getting three-peating this year?
This, see, we haven't discussed this before at all, so I don't know any of y'all's, but I'm going to have to say the Bengals.
Ooh, okay.
Because
it's easy to forget about them.
Because I think we haven't seen Joe Burrow fully healthy, and I think people discredit him sometimes. Like, look at what he did at LSU, and, like, I don't think he's really been fully healthy since then in the NFL.
Even what he did in that one healthy season, they beat the Chiefs and went to the Super Bowl.
Right. So I think when you have a healthy Joe Burrow, and you also have to think his teammate, Jamar Chase, his wide receiver, they were teammates at LSU.
Yep.
I think them together is a dynamic duo, and they could really, like, have a powerhouse. I mean, he also has the talent of T. Higgins with him. Like, I don't know. I think it's a recipe. If Joe Burrow can stay healthy, I definitely see some trouble for the Chiefs.
Well, hold on there, because I'm pivoting completely from what I said earlier to Mr. Richie Reed. I'm thinking the Houston Texans can dethrone the Chiefs. You saw what happened last year. They made the playoffs with C.J. Stroud. Now you add on Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, Cam Akers. You add a lot to the running back room. You sign some guys on the defense. You have a young defense.
They brought in Danielle Hunter to pair up with Will Anderson as well on that defensive line.
Exactly, and you have a team that's young and hungry and ready to play. And I think now I'm kind of buying into that Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud hype.
Okay.
I think they could be the one to dethrone the Chiefs, man.
So you can see a Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs AFC Championship game with the Texans coming out on top.
Yes, sir. I could.
And making it to the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
All right, then, Mr. Howley.
Dude, you raised some great points with the Texans. You know, Stroud's coming up this second year. Normally, when big-time quarterbacks hit that sophomore year, that's when they break out. But I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions, man.
I love
America's team.
I'm saying, bro,
it.
I will run through a wall for Dan Campbell. He's such a good coach, and really the Lions, they didn't lose too much of anything.
No.
I mean, they didn't skip a beat. They have their core in Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell.
Who they paid.
They paid for
Sewell
that
got
core.
loaded.
And when a team can extend a core like that, a core this elite for the foreseeable future, with a head coach that players want to play for, in a city that the fans want to see their team win, I just think the culture, the players on the field, the coaches on the sideline, it's just it's a recipe for success. And I think Kansas City, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat. But if we can see a Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl with Detroit winning, that would be the most American Super Bowl we have seen in a long, long time.
Look, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I do have a team in mind. And it's a team in the AFC, a team I can see meeting up with the Chiefs either in the divisional round or in the AFC Championship that'll make that Super Bowl pick a little bit more American.
Ooh, let me see.
The man that ran out onto the field last season with an American flag in his hand, but only got to play 4 snaps.
Sure.
I like the New York Jets.
Wow.
I think the New York Jets can be the team to beat in the AFC by week 11 or week 12. I think that is the team with the most ready. I think that's the team that is the most ready to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not even going to start with their offense. I'm going to start with their defense. That is a defense that is loaded, led by head coach Robert Saleh, who was a fantastic defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers for a few years when they made that first recent their first Super Bowl appearance recently when they also lost to the Chiefs. That defense has been fantastic and has been a top 10 and top 5 unit the past 2 to 3 years in the NFL. But the only problem is that defense has kept them in every game, but they didn't have an offense to back it up. So now you have your quarterback healthy. I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to have a huge season coming back from injury. You have Garrett Wilson, who we know is a star at wide receiver. They bring in Mike Williams. They have Breece Hall, who we all know when healthy is a star at running back. They also went out and drafted Braylon Allen. They went out and got offensive line help to help protect Aaron Rodgers and really get that run game going. When I look at this New York Jets team, there aren't too many other teams at full power that I could see beating them. Because they had every game last year going down to the wire. An extremely close game last year against the Chiefs, even without a capable guy at quarterback. So you go out and bring Aaron Rodgers back in there. Even Aaron Rodgers at 70% is enough to get them to the AFC Championship game. I am completely bought in. I'm drinking that New York Jets Kool-Aid. As of right now, they might be my Super Bowl pick. We're going to make those predictions next week. But I wouldn't be mad at the Detroit Lions New York Jets Super Bowl as well.
That'd be awesome.
I can see it going either way.
I feel that'd be America's Super Bowl.
Dude, that would be. I want to see Dan Campbell hoist the.
That would be
Lombardi.
insane.
Man, I love Dan Campbell. You can't go wrong with Dan Campbell and the way he coaches things.
I do have one more quick question before we move on.
What's
Something
up?
I thought of a little last minute right before we started the show. Who is the quarterback that y'all think has the most pressure on them going into this season? I'm going to give you 4 options. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, or Jalen Hurts. I'm going to start with you first, Howley. Quick answer.
You know what? It's going to be Lamar, 2-time MVP. Hasn't made it past the AFC Championship. We saw it happen last year. I understand there's a lot that went into it, but he's got a lot to prove. Still a great quarterback, but really, in sentence, he's got to prove it.
I think it's Josh Allen. I think with his turnover trouble, he lost Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I think that this is his season to say, hey, I am a good quarterback, and I can win without my biggest pieces.
I also think it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, when you look at these other guys, they have tremendous pressure. Aaron Rodgers, his career's ending, and the only knock on him is the fact that he's only been to one Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts had turnover problems last year as well, just like Josh Allen did. Josh Allen's gotten close but hasn't been able to get past the Chiefs. When I look at Lamar Jackson, he is just about 2-time unanimous MVP in this league. He's done everything, checked off every box, elevated his team to the next level. He has the defense around him. Last year should have been their year, but they came up short, largely because of play calling, but they still came up short. Lamar Jackson needs to win, and he needs to win now. But speaking of winning, we've got a 12-team playoff coming, and a lot of people have different teams winning it this year. As of right now, I have a team I like this year. We're going to throw my 12-team bracket up on the screen now. And as you can see, I like the Georgia Bulldogs to win their 3rd national championship under Kirby Smart this year. But I have a lot of crazy teams on this 12-team playoff bracket, because if you've been living under a rock for the past few months, you might not know. But this isn't a 4-team playoff anymore. You don't just make it in or instantly in the semis. This is a 12-team system now. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go through my entire 12-team format. It might take some time, but I'm going to get through it all. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see Richard's playoff bracket on the screen right now. But I'm going to go through it real quick. I have the number 1 seed being the Ohio State Buckeyes. At 2, I have the Georgia Bulldogs. 3rd, representing the ACC, I have the Miami Hurricanes. I have the Utah Utes at 4th, representing the Big 12 Conference, because the top 4 highest-rated conference champions get the top 4 seeds no matter their schedule, no matter their record. If they win their conference, they are in that top 4 and receive a bye week. At 5, the SEC runner-ups, I have the Ole Miss Rebels, who I'm really high on this year. At 6, I have the Oregon Ducks, the Big 10 runner-ups. At 7, I have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Yes, an independent in there. That's about as high as they can get. Is 5. I have them going 11-1, so I put them at 7. At 8, I have the Texas Longhorns representing the SEC again. That is the 3rd SEC team in here already. A lot of people call me an SEC homer. I'm not helping my case against it. At 9, I have the Penn State Nittany Lions making it in. James Franklin is finally going to play in a big-time game. This is going to be his chance to prove it this year. At 10, I have the Clemson Tigers. A lot of people think Clemson's done. A lot of people are selling their stock in Dabo Swinney. I still have faith in this team. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia week 1, spoiler alert, but I don't think this is going to be a bad Clemson team at all. I don't have them winning the ACC, but I think they'll crack open. I think they'll make a way into the playoff. At 11, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. I know Brendan's out there somewhere smiling right now.
He's got his Milo jersey or something somewhere.
But I think that team's talented enough. Under head coach Kalen DeBoer, he works wonders with the offense. I think this team's going to be even better than the Alabama team of last year, but they have a rough schedule, so I have them getting in at 11. And my 12 team, representing the G5, I have USF.
Yes,
I think the
sir.
University of South Florida is going to surprise a lot of people this year. Now, I could have gone a few other ways with it. I could have gone Liberty. I could have gone Boise State like a lot of people. But I really like USF under head coach Mike Golish. They brought in some big-time recruits. They had a 5-star tight end come in this cycle. They're revamping the entire organization. If USF doesn't make it this year like I think they will, they'll be in next year or the year after. USF is a program on the rise. Watch out for them. Now, who wants to kick it off first? Tell me where I went wrong.
Miami.
Tell me what you would have changed. Jump at it.
All right, I'll take this one. I'll start. Honestly, I think it's solid.
Okay.
I think your bracket's pretty solid. You know, if my Knowles didn't stub their toe in Ireland, then maybe it would look a little different.
I have something to say about that.
Okay.
Florida State is a fraud and has always been a fraud.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And will always be a fraud.
Oh.
But
Whoa.
that's my piece
That's
on
how we
that.
feel?
Hey, all right.
That's how we feel.
Overreactions
All right, Carlie.
come with week 0 losses.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll figure it out. But yeah, no, going back to this bracket, I think it's solid except for Miami. And the reason that I'm not buying the stock in Miami is because every single season we are told that Miami is about to be something special. It wasn't long ago that Tyler Van Dyke was seen as he could be the guy.
That is true.
I remember that.
Cristobal,
Can't
same
win.
thing with Billy Napier, but Cristobal can recruit his butt off.
He can.
He can get boys to Coral Gables. But they don't play well on the field. He's just not that guy on the sideline, in my opinion. He can't take a knee. I don't know how you forget that. I mean,
Look, Schrader, they brought in a time management coach just for that.
Yeah, that's a red flag right there, man. But, like, come on. Like, that's stuff I do in college football 25. I don't take knees. Cristobal should.
Look, but here's my rebuttal. I understand guys not being all there as coaches. He can recruit very well. He's bringing in the right guys. But if we take a look back, now I'm not comparing him to this team, but if we look back at that LSU 2019 team, we can all look at that team and say they had the guys to beat anybody. I could have went in there and coached that team, and they probably still would have won. The Twins are looking at me crazy from the control room after they saw my bracket. But look, I think this is one of those kind of teams where you can take anybody and throw. You can take me and Carlie and make us the head coach and the offensive coordinator. And I think this team will still have a winning record because of the talent. You take a guy like Cam Ward, who I think is a dark horse to win the Heisman this year. He threw for over 3,700 yards last year at Washington State, and he was throwing a John out there at receiver.
Real.
He didn't have much to work with. So you give him this insane receiving core that they already had there with Restrepo, who's been in college for 18 years. Guys like Sam Brown, they brought in from the portal. Then a running back like Damian Martinez. Oh, my gosh. The defense is there because, like you said, Cristobal can recruit. He has the right guys in there. So when I look at this team, I get it. He's made some crazy coaching decisions in the past. But when I look at this Miami team, I cannot see them doing anything less than winning the ACC. They are my easy pick, no doubt. I believe in Miami this year. I don't have them winning the whole thing, but I definitely believe they're going to represent the ACC and get a first-round bye this year.
Man, I didn't realize Cam Ward was throwing to me out there. Feels great at the end
I
of
mean,
the
look,
day.
he was
Yeah.
throwing to Jim and Johns out there. Nobody was out there.
No, I mean, Miami's the only toss-up. My whole thing is can Cristobal win? Because he was at Oregon. He went over to Miami. He's been there since. We keep talking about he recruits, and we see what happens. You know, he's really not winning these big games, and they're starting out preseason top 25, and the cookie just crumbles. What I'm wanting to see is can Cristobal win, and can Cristobal take it and show, hey, we can win the ACC. Hey, we can make the playoffs. Hey, we can make a run for people's money and show them that we are a program to show up and play because you can't doubt Cristobal of him being a great coach, but he's got to be sick of it. I'd have to be sick of that stuff happening because you can do all this, but now it's starting to show you having these problems, and really you're just looking there and you're like, well, wait a minute, it's not there. So really I want Cristobal to prove to me that he can make that 3 seed and, take Miami a little further and kind of bring that little glory back that Miami used to have.
You know who else I think is sick of it? Were you about to say something? You know who else I think is sick of it?
Who?
Lane Kiffin.
Oh,
He's tired of people sitting back saying he can't win a big game. I think this is the year Ole Miss really makes something shake here. As y'all see, I have them as my 5 seed.
Yeah.
And that's no knock on them. I have them being the SEC runner-ups. I have them losing to the Georgia Bulldogs and what, of course, me foreseeing into late December is going to be a really close game. I think Ole Miss has what it takes on the front 7. Nick Saban was talking about it last week on College Game Day, and I couldn't agree with him more. They had close games against Georgia. Well, not against Georgia.
Yeah.
But they lost to Georgia and Alabama last year, but they ran the SEC table outside those 2 games.
True.
And the problem was they couldn't match up with them on the offensive line and the defensive line. So Lane Kiffin went out there, got the guys he needed to match up with them. He already has his quarterback. Look, if I'm not betting on Cam Ward to win the Heisman this year, I'm putting my money with Jackson Dart because I believe in him. I feel like as though I've seen enough. He balled out in the bowl game. He balled out all year last year. And they have arguably the best wide receiving core in the country. They might have lost Quinshon Judkins at running back, but they've got a guy, Ulysses Bentley IV. Now, look, you might think, oh, my gosh, white running back? Nah, he about as black as me. But, look, he can tote the rock, and I believe in Ulysses Bentley. And I believe in this Ole Miss team. I think they're going to have the defense to back it up, the guys along the front 7 to back it up. I think Ole Miss is going to scare a lot of people this year. They have one of the most favorable schedules in the SEC. Look out for Ole Miss.
I think it's interesting how you have Texas at number 8, their first year in the SEC. Why'd you put them in there?
Texas is doing everything they have to do to be ready to compete in the SEC. And a lot of people think, yeah, it's different out here. It's different out here. It is. But if you're recruiting in-state, especially in a state like Texas, the way Sarkisian's doing, I think they're going to be just fine. Now, they did lose their number 1 running back. That's going to hurt them a lot. Look, the most successful Steve Sarkisian offenses run through an 1,000-yard rusher. It's going to be hard to replace him. They're going to go running back by committee. But I still think Texas is going to be a very good team this year. They're going to be knocking on the door of the SEC championship. But I do have Ole Miss and Georgia edging them out some. But don't sleep on them. The Longhorns are going to be good. A very fast and high-flying offense this year, led by quarterback Quinn Ewers, who's trying to prove that he is a first-round lock this year. Now stay tuned, because when we get back, we're going to be picking this loaded Week 1 slate of college football. We'll be back soon.
Hey, this is Andy Bunker from 92.9 The Game, and you're listening to the Wolf Sports Network.
All right, what's up, everybody out there in the live chat? It's Richard here. Figured I'd show y'all a little bit of love right now. As you know, we were just talking about my 12-team playoff bracket. I kind of want to hear from y'all. I want to see what y'all think. So let me know down in the chat what y'all feel about my 12-team bracket, what y'all agree with, what y'all disagree with. And I'll try to argue back and forth with y'all a little bit, because I do feel like I picked a darn good bracket. I think I did my thing with this playoff bracket, actually. Like, I think this might just be a perfect bracket. And look, if this bracket is perfect, I need about, what, $20 from everybody that's sitting back listening. Y'all think that's fair? Y'all think $20 is fair from everybody that's listening if my bracket's 100% right?
I don't. I'm not a betting man. I bet once and I've won once, and that's it. So.
I mean, but like, honestly speaking, like, if my bracket's right, I think a little compensation is due, even if it's just from people around this table. Like, if I hit on every single pick in this 12-team bracket.
Hey, nothing boosts the quarterback like Pac-12 defenses do, brother.
Unmute. Is his mic muted?
No.
You said what now?
Nothing will boost a quarterback's stats quite like the Pac-12 defenses.
So you're
mean the
saying
Pac-2?
I'm
Cam
not
Moore's
saying
stats
he's
might be a
bad.
little
That's the
inflated?
Pac-2 to you.
The Pac-2. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying you got to take the defense into account there.
I mean, we can. But when you watch it, it's like, it's undeniable.
Well, I know he's good.
Because, like, who was he throwing to?
Who's he throwing against?
Hold on. Here's one thing that
But
I
who was he
know.
throwing to? They still had no separation. That was good. That was
Hey,
good.
you know what?
I can't be mad at that.
I like how you kept Oklahoma out of there, because I don't think Oklahoma will adapt right away.
I think Oklahoma's going to be good, but I see them.
I was just saying, let's mute.
Oh.
I can't hear it over here.
Oh, no, yeah, it's fine. But I say, I think Oklahoma's going to be pretty good this year, but I view them as I view Tennessee. I think they're going to be a tough out no matter who plays them, but I can see them winning like 8 or 9 games this year.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we'll be back in a second.
team sucks and I'm mad as heck. Jason Kelsey made me cry at the press. But never fear, cause Saquon's here. Goodness gracious, I'm fired up. Tune in to Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 5 to check out our hit segment, Fire Me Up. Only on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here, now in Odyssey Station.
You know, a minute ago, I was sitting back thinking, man, Richard, what are you going to eat today? Because I'm sitting here kind of hungry. I'm like, dang, I mean, Moe's sounds good, but it's kind of expensive. Kind of want to go to Zaxby's, but at the same time, I don't want to spend any money. But then I remember, dining dollars are available to use at East Commons Pack Shack, the TLC, the Noonan Micro Mart, and in any Coca-Cola vending machine on campus. For more information on how you can use your dining dollars, go to the Dine West Instagram at Dine_West. Now listen, we have a huge Week 1 college football slate this weekend. Starting off tonight, believe it or not, a Thursday night game, what some are calling the sleeper game of the year. The Colorado Buffaloes taking on the 1,000-time FCS national champion North Dakota State Bison. Carlie, I'm going to kick it off to you first. A lot of people think it's the upset tonight. What do you think?
You know, part of my heart's in CU Boulder because my brother's out there for grad school, and he's already sent me pictures of campus and how absolutely crazy it is. I'm gonna have to go with CU Boulder just because that atmosphere, like I've been there too, even not on a game day, like it's insane. Like I've been there a foot of snow and it's still crazy out there, so I'm gonna have to go with them.
Then with prime time out there, I know it's even crazy.
Oh yeah,
I know it's crazy. I tried to get some tickets. They almost broke me. I almost cried looking at the price.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this game, and honestly, I like picking one big upset Week 1 every year. And I'm just gonna say it.
Is this it?
I think North Dakota State's gonna walk in there, and I think they're gonna shock a lot of people. That atmosphere is great, and it was especially great when a Stanford team that lost to Sacramento State the week before walked in there and had a 29-point, 26-point comeback.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Silence that crowd. I think if North Dakota State causes friction and gives Colorado a little bit of a
Run for their money?
run for their money, I think they're going to crumble, and I think North Dakota State's going to take it.
So you think Colorado's going to crumble under that pressure?
I do.
See, I love Coach Prime. My friends know, family, all y'all here at the station, y'all know I love Coach Prime. But the last time the Buffaloes were really that great, I can't tell you. But, NDSU, the last time they won the FCS Natty, the starting quarterback was a freshman on the team, Mr. Cam Miller. And without going into all my details to get on with this, give me NDSU tonight, baby.
So you like North Dakota State?
Yes, sir.
So we have two people sitting at this desk picking the North Dakota State Bison to beat the Colorado Buffaloes tonight.
I never claimed to be like a genius. I'm just going to throw that out there.
But I mean, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
I don't know. It's got that gut feeling, man.
Well, Carlie, I'm not going to let you sit here and stand alone. Because I believe. That's what they used to say back when Dion was at Jackson State. I believe.
You believe, huh?
I believe the Colorado Buffaloes are going to put a lot of people on notice tonight. Now, all the people that are kind of low-key, let's say low-key hating on Colorado, I'm not saying y'all are, but there are a lot of people out there just waiting on them to lose, are going to try to jump on this game and be like, well, I mean, they only beat North Dakota State. Let's not sleep on North Dakota State. They are a powerhouse out there in the FCS, just like South Dakota State, just like Montana State, who beat New Mexico State last week.
That's what I'm
Now,
thinking.
look, I promise you, I'm not going to say state again. But I believe Colorado's going to get it done. I think they've done enough in the transfer portal and recruiting-wise to kind of help that offensive line a little bit. Last season, Shedeur was sacked 52 times. Look, if you can just not cut that number in half, shoot, let's just say he gets sacked 27 times.
They brought in a lot
That
of
helps.
offensive line transfers.
That's what I'm saying. So if even half of those transfers pan out, knock that number down from 52 to 32. This could be a team that wins a lot more games. Out of that 8-game skid they had at the end of last season, 5 of those games were one possession. They have the skill positions to compete with anybody out here, and I think those skill position players are going to be what set them apart from North Dakota State. I think Colorado's going to get it done, and I think they're going to look pretty impressive doing it.
You even brought in the 5-star from IMG for the offensive line. So
Exactly.
Really, I'm telling you give Shedeur his pocket and sustains, then yeah, it's going to be a whole different ball game tonight. But
Exactly.
I'm still sticking with the Bisons, man.
All right, well, you're going to see those skill position players are going to show up and show out, and I think they're going to get out of there with a win.
Hey, we'll
Next game. Tomorrow at 12, the beginning of that insane ABC triple header. We have the Georgia Bulldogs, who I have winning the national championship this year. No bias involved, of course.
None.
Right.
None.
Playing against the Clemson Tigers in Atlanta. Carlie, who you got?
So it's in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz, so there's obviously going to be a huge UGA turnout. That's to be expected. I'm really interested to see how Carson Beck is going to do without Brock Bowers. They were like the dynamic duo in the past, so I'm really interested to see like if there's going to be a new dynamic duo, someone else step up like that. And I think if that doesn't get down on lock, then Georgia could really struggle. But I do think the powerhouse that Georgia is, they will win, as much as I don't want them to. But that's what I'm thinking. Is
Auburn
Georgia?
fans.
Yeah, I got to give it to Georgia.
Here we go.
But there's a but. I do not think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a one possession game.
Okay.
People are sleeping on Clemson pretty hard. They make the jokes that, Dabo doesn't go to the transfer portal to get anybody. But what Dabo also doesn't do is lose a lot of people to the transfer portal.
That is true.
Clemson's got a strong culture. Last 2 seasons, they've been a very young team. Well, people get older, and they get better. And those players on that young team are beginning to be veterans on an experienced team. So I think Clemson's going to really give Georgia a run for their money. There's going to be times where Georgia's going to be uncomfortable. But Athens has been 5-star city for the last 5 years. The depth that they have is insane. So I think Georgia's going to take it, but I do not think by any means it's going to be the blowout some people believe it is.
Well, it's a little obvious who I would want to win, but I am going to point out, Carlie, you're talking about Carson Beck and him not having Brock Bowers. There is Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky, and I promise you Oscar Delp is going to come in there and take that role from Brock Bowers and show that, hey, I'm here to play. Plus, you have Landon Humphreys who transferred in. You have Trevor Etienne. You have
Colby
a bunch of
Young
guys.
at receiver.
Yeah, say again.
Colby Young at wide receiver.
And Dominic Lovett.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. You got a squad. I'm not gonna sleep on Clemson. I really have this game kind of being like 31-17, maybe 31-20, something around that. But it's dogs all day.
See, I'm with you. I'm with you, John. I'm with all of you, actually. I have Georgia winning this game, but I'm actually leaning more towards what you said, Schrader. People are sleeping on Clemson. Y'all see I have them in my playoff bracket this year. I think it's going to be a much improved team. Dabo has shown he does a great job at developing talent, and you're right. That talent's been there for some years. Cade Klubnik's had some time to sit back and simmer. He's done marinated. Look, let's see if he done aged like fine wine. We going to see. Pause. Now, look. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a good game. Clemson has a very good defense. There's a lot to be seen on that offensive side, but Georgia has loaded up their wide receiver room. I think it's going to take a committee of guys to replace Brock Bowers, to your point, Carlie, but I think they have it. I have Georgia winning this game 34-17 or 34-20. All right, now we got to move. Our answer's been kind of long-winded. Let's keep it going. Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. In College Station. Speed answers. What we got here? It's going to be a
Short
crazy
and
game.
sweet. I got Texas A&M. They're playing at Kyle Field. Environment is actually insane. Home of the 12th man. Give me Texas A&M.
Picking a minor upset there, Carlie. I like it.
I'm going to go Notre Dame there. I think it's going to be an insane environment, but I just think the experience of Notre Dame with Riley Leonard at quarterback is just going to be able to shock the Kyle Field crowd a little bit. So give me Notre Dame.
Look, anytime Texas A&M brings someone into their stadium week 1, end up losing. Give me Notre Dame, Riley Leonard. Let's get it done.
See, I actually like that College Station atmosphere out there. It's hard to play out there in College Station. They got those male cheerleaders out there doing their thing. Not saying I'll be sitting there watching them, but they do like some weird chants out there. It's weird. The traditions out there in A&M are weird, but I'm all in on it. I love Mike Elko as a head coach. He was dominant back there at Duke. And then looking at the infinite resource pool that he has here at Texas A&M, I find it hard to pick against him. A lot of that talent from that 2022 greatest recruiting class of all time has gone, but I think there's enough there. It's going to be a very defensive game. But to your point, Schrader, I like the quarterback. I think I give A&M the edge at quarterback. I love Connor Wegman, so I'm going to pick Texas A&M, and what's going to go down is a very good game, very defensive and scrappy game. Now, another game that could be really scrappy. Miami versus Florida, the battle for the Sunshine State. Here we got.
I got Florida. I mean, they've made a lot of good new hires on this coaching staff, as well as they really hit the transfer portal, so I think that's really going to help them. Also, side note, saw this during my research. They have No, not Florida. Miami has a 9th year. Cam McCormick is a 9th year. He graduated high school in 2016. That's just crazy to me that a 9th year is still playing college
He
football.
found a lot of loopholes.
9 years ago, I was 10 years old, by the way.
Like,
Yep,
that's
me too.
crazy.
12.
Yeah.
But
I
yes,
hope-
I have Florida.
I hope he has an Indeed account.
You picked Florida.
Yeah, I picked Florida.
She did pick
Oh my
Florida.
gosh, that might be the upset of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got Florida.
Do I have something for you, buddy?
Oh.
I think it's going to be a close game. I hate this game because I'm a Florida State fan, and I really just don't like either of these teams, and I don't want to see either of these teams win. But I'm going to have to give it to Florida. I think Florida's roster is impressive,
Okay.
and they are at home in the swamp, and their head coach, if he loses this game, he is on quite the hot seat.
Must
Been
champ
nice with Hot
Monday.
Blaze.
Dude. So I think I'm gonna give it to Florida. It's gonna be a close one, but I think the environment in the swamp, when they start playing Tom Petty in the fourth quarter, I think Florida's gonna just take it.
Now, John, I know you ain't finna sit here and pick the Gators like them rocking an all-black UGA DeAndre Swift jersey.
And here's the thing. You know, I was talking about Cristobal earlier. This is where Cristobal wins, baby.
Okay, well, my heart almost stopped. So you got Miami.
Got Miami.
See, I'm with you. I'm picking Miami, but I do respect what you and Carlie have to say because I've been looking. We look at Florida's schedule. They have one of the hardest schedules ever constructed. It was like everybody was conspiring against them. The devil was against them. The playoff committee that was conspiring against Florida State, they were against them. Everybody was against Florida. But look, they're a talented team. I think every game's gonna be a fight. They're gonna be in every game. They're gonna be in this one. But I think Miami has the talent edge. Like I said, I love Cam Ward. I love Damian Martinez. Give me the Miami Hurricanes to win what might go down as a classic out there in the swamp. Now for our last game of the week, this is the Sunday night game, actually. USC versus LSU. The battle of the ghost defenses. Who we got?
First off, whenever I look at a game, I really like to look at where it is. And this game is in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the start time temp is 105. That's some heat to play in, so I think both teams are really going to have to adjust to that. But I do think in terms of these teams, both of their defenses have needed some work, so I do think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. But ultimately, I think LSU's going to pull it out.
Yeah. I hope that dome's working over there in Vegas, man.
Yeah, because
it's gonna be hot. But
Yeah, it is.
I looked into this game, man, and I was just perplexed. Like,
Yeah.
My reasoning here, I got LSU because why not? I think LSU's just going to do it because of the defensive struggles that USC's had and LSU's offense, man. They're crazy. Now, LSU's defense, they're a little shaky too, but it's an SEC defense. All y'all SEC fans, y'all love the SEC defense.
It's different out here.
So
It means more.
I'm gonna give it to LSU in a close game, just because why not?
Listen, I think the one thing we're forgetting about is Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, 1 and 2, gone. You have Mr. Nussmeier and Mr. Miller-Moss coming in, taking over. Really, I'm just going off bias here. LSU, I don't know much about both these teams right now, so just give me LSU.
Wow.
Go Tigers.
I did not expect
Tigers.
everybody out here to pick LSU. And now it makes my pick seem unoriginal because I was going with LSU, but I give them the slight lean because they have – now, neither of these teams have defenses. I can go out there and score 2 touchdowns on either of these teams right now, today. But look, I think LSU has done enough to make strides to better their defense. They've brought in all the staffers. I don't think they have the right personnel in there, the right player personnel in there right now to really take that next step into a top 20 defense. But I think they brought in the right coaching staff to get maybe one extra stop against USC. I love Garrett Nussmeier. I never forget what he did in that SEC championship game. Came in there and threw for about 300 yards against a great Georgia Bulldogs defense after Jaden Daniels went down. Miller-Moss threw for 7 touchdowns in his bowl game last year. It was incredible. I think this is going to be one of those games where you cannot walk away from the TV because if you blink, if you head nod, you gotta go pee. Like 2 drops in the toilet, everybody explodes because there's a 76-yard touchdown pass. Look, it's going to be one of those games. Do not look away from the TV. But I'm gonna pick LSU. I think they might be able to get one extra stop on USC, but it's going to be a classic. Now, look, I hate to say it, but that's all the time we've got for Sports Pack tonight. I appreciate all of you for tuning in to the first episode of Fall 2024 Sports Pack. It's a different look out here, whole new cast, but it's amazing. It's been fun. It's been real. I would say see y'all Monday, but sadly, it's Labor Day weekend. But tune in on Monday for the Joel Taylor Show from 6:30 to 7:30 on Wolf Sports Network, also on UWGathletics.com. But we'll be back next Thursday with some NFL game. We'll be back next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Be here, hear about it, because we're making our Super Bowl picks next week.
You are now listening to WSN, the Wolf Sports Network.
I must be